What are some of the common mistakes you see new comedians making?
Thinking that, or what's the word? I think it's an entitlement perhaps, or just not being willing to do the work. And I think it's gotten easier each generation because I had people who, when I first started doing comedy, again, I was a fan at first. So when I switched over to comedian, it was a problem for some people. And then when I started working, it became a bigger problem for people because the generation before me remembers having to send VHS tapes to every club. And I'm like, all I did was put a link on MySpace. I mean, I don't know. And so now this generation coming in, they think it's supposed to happen like that. I know there's the microwave generation. What's after the microwave generation? Because they want shit quicker than the microwave. They want to get their little 1,000 YouTube views and then all of a sudden think that they're okay. And I admire a lot of like the internet comedians and the people who do social content online. Love it because that can never be me. I just don't have the energy to do it. It is a different beast when you get in front of these hot lights in front of real people. And I think we're finding that out a lot with these younger comedians, because when they were doing comedy from the sanctity of their own bedroom, they were hot. But as soon as they get to a club, because of their viewership, they get to that club and they don't know how to interact with people. They don't know how to read a room. Like that's the biggest thing, is learn how to read a room. So
It's so important. And so many people, I know a lot of comedians who like to show up late, jump on stage and take off after the set. And it kind of defeats a lot of the purpose of getting better and or connecting with people, which I see a lot of huge names are there early, including myself. I get to a show early. I like to watch the people come in. I like to look at the room, and I like to then be at the door as people are leaving to say thank you for coming. I think it's so important to those people want to tell you something after the show. They want to let you know that you've connected with them. And just to let you know, so Dr. Ellen says, wow, thank you. I love this. And Cindy Sheridan says, love this advice. Thank you. Just, you know, so you know that
thanks, guys.
I just got goosebumps. I don't know if you could see.
Thank you, guys. But that is so important. Like I am a huge proponent. And when I was producing like my own shows, my own comedy shows, I start on time regardless. I don't care if it's 1 or 1,000. We're starting the show because I was also trying to train my audience to get there on time. And I was also trying to train comedians that we're not on your schedule. Like this is still a job. And I think a lot of comedians never had a 9 to 5. So they just show up when the hell they want to show up and do what they want to do, but it's not about you. It's not at all. So, but I also tell my friends, like if I'm doing shows and they're like, well, what time do you go on? Bitch, the show starts at 9. I'm going to be on sometime between 9 and 11. I'm going to need you to be there at 9.
Yeah, what do they expect to show up for the 20 minutes that I'm on 9:20 to 9:45, and that's, you can't just show up for my set.
No.
And I'll tell you what, when I was booking a lot more than I am now with the club, there was specifically, I remember the story, it happens over and over again, but there was someone who's famous now who was becoming famous then. And after they became famous, they said to me, how come you never booked me on stuff? And I said, well, I did book you on some stuff, but when you show up 40 minutes after the show starts and you walk in, act like you own the place, and then take off, that doesn't show me that you want to be a part of my shows. That shows me that you're thinking about yourself, which is fine, especially in such a cutthroat industry. But realize that there is a community involved. And that's something that I've always promoted, is that community, because it takes someone bigger than you to learn from and to offer you that ladder and that hand to pull you up. And that's one thing that should be paid forward as well.
What I was told, and I guess this is another piece of advice that I've held with me for a while, is I think it was a casting director or somebody. They're like, whenever you go into an audition, whenever you go into a job, it's not about if you're the best person for the job. It's about if the person wants to spend their day with you. So if I'm going to a comedy club or if I'm going into an audition or whatever, I could be a great actress, a great comedian. If I'm shitty on the inside, nobody's going to want to spend the next 3 to 6 to year worth of production fucking with me. They're not going to want to do it. So every audition I go into, every comedy club I go into, I speak to all of the employees like, we're good. I want to tip all the employees. When you go into clubs, you're tipping. You're not just going in asking for shit. Like, where's my free drink? Where's my this? Where's my that? It's not okay because they don't want to be around you again. And every person at a comedy club matters. Because just like you were saying, I could go and I could have an amazing set. The audience could love me. But when your staff comes back to you and says, that bitch don't tip. She wanted everything. She brought 17 people into the green room. Guess where I'm not working again? That comedy club.
Yeah.